Okay. So now we have this server running. So what the server does is that it has an endpoint called issues, and when this is endpoint is called when we do a post request to /issues with a project name, issue title, and description. What it do is that it does use the OctoKit SDK provided by GitHub, and it creates an issue in the GitHub. So here it's created. So here you can see that issue is created. So this is created by the server. So this API is now running on port 3000, and if I just I will just do API /v1. Okay, so now if I run this server, node-mon index.js npm run dev. So now this server is running, ready to get information. Now you can use any client thing, you can use mobile application, web application, anything. But here we are going to go a different route, and we are going to use make use of Discord and Discord's command thing here. And with that, what we'll be doing is that we'll create a Discord bot. That bot will be present here, and the bot will be able to listen for commands from here, and the bot will call this API, which is running on my localhost port 3000, and it will call this function, this route, and it will eventually create a new issue in the GitHub account of mine. So first we have to start by creating a new project. So I will say Discord bot server, and I can navigate to that. So same thing here, it's again a node project, so we have to do npm init, and if I put -y, it won't ask me questions, it will just autofill these things. So it's done. Now I can open it in the VS Code. Again, you can see the package.json which was created earlier. So first thing is that we will change this type to modules, so that we don't have to use comment.js, and we can use import. And the next file we'll create is index.js, and next we will open the terminal and we'll import some new things. So again, for this project, again .env is a default package I install for every node project, because we need .env to handle the secrets. So here that we have. Next, what we can install is that so how do we interact with Discord, right? So we need some way to do that. So Discord has provided this package called Discord, which we can install. So here I can do npm install Discord. So now if we look in the package.json, we can see that .env is installed and Discord is installed, and those are the main two packages that we need. And to proceed, what we can do is that we have to install a couple more packages. So we can see that we have Discord REST we have to install, because we are using commands. This is another package provided by Discord, so we have to install that. So again, you know how to use these SDKs and libraries that we can find in the documentation. Discord also has some great documentation, updated one. Then we need one more package. So here this is for types, version 10, but we are not using TypeScript for now, but yeah, this is the. Then we need Discord.js builders. So what builder does is that builder will let you, so basically when these companies do APIs and SD libraries, especially when doing libraries, they will, cut the whole thing into pieces. Like you can see Discord.js is a library, and it has some functionalities. Then you have Discord REST, which will be the REST functionality that will talk to the Discord server, and you have this API type thing route, so that you can write that type thing that you get on top of the API. And you have this Discord.js builder. So they won't put all the code into one package and publish it. They will, make it into small chunks and do that. So Discord builder's work is to, be able to give us a way to build commands. So this is they're importing slash command builder, which will let us import slash. So here this is what happens. When you type in slash, you will get this prompts here. Many are Jiffy, many other commands are there. So these are from the bots that are working here. And when you this command, so how we can create these commands, that's for that we need to use this Discord.js builder package. So it says have the correct name and repository. So it is just API type, no need of version. And we have to import Discord.js builders. Okay, so now we have almost all the packages that we need. So we will start by importing .env from .env and .env.config so that the .env is activated. .env is what we use for dealing with process environments to handle environment variables. So once we do these parts, what we can so first we need a few things here. So like if you see, we need application. We need first is bot token. So again, this is the way they secure their APIs and how they can ensure that misuse is not happening. So if you go to discord.com/developers/application, you can find. So I have created the new application here. So I'll be using the one existing one. So here, if I come down here, I can click on bot and I can say reset token, and it will say yes to it. And here, I will get the token. So this is my bot token that it will identify and it will authorize to use the GitHub API to listen to commands, type in something and that. So here I can say Discord. So I can name it anything. I will name it bot token, and I paste that. Then I need few more things. So here I will get client ID. So I will name it Discord client ID. And then you need one more thing. Again, how I know I need these things? Because I have gone through the documentation, I have learned from there. Next is you need the server guild ID. There is something called guild ID. So guild ID is basically the server ID. So for that, this is the server name. So this is my server. So I can right click and I can say copy server ID. So now I got guild ID also. So now we have the major three things that you need. Those are the ingredients to create the thing. So now because the bot is already available on my server, I don't have to install it again. But if you are starting out, then what you can do is that you can click on bot and general information, both and URL generator. Here you can select bot and the permissions. Then you will get a URL that you can paste in, which is like an invitation to the bot. Then you can add your bot to the system. So here you can see once you get the URL, you can paste the URL and you will end up in this page. It will ask you, would you like to add this bot to your system? And these are the permissions that you're giving in. Are you okay with that? So then you can select server and you can proceed further. Then when you're done with that adding step, you can see your bot listed in the member section. The bot is again just a member out there, but with some additional capabilities. So yeah, so the next part is that we want to initialize, we first have to import these things. So first you have to import. So first we will import this, again, like I said earlier, these are named imports and there are default imports. We are using named imports here. So Discord.js is exposing these client and gateway intent bits. So we are just importing that. Then we can import this Discord REST, and we can also API routes. So if you see here also, even with the package, they are using v10, which is referring to the version that they are using. So it makes it easier to deal with version changes. And then there is a slash command builder that we are importing. This is again exported by the thing. So if you go to documentation or into this package page, you will see more such things that you can use, the more such things that you can import. So first we have to initialize client like we initialize express there. We have to do the same thing here. So below this, what we can say is that I need a new client. So this client is referring to this thing from which this code is exposing. We are saying I want to initialize a new thing, and these are the things intents I have. So intents, again, you can take it as an English term itself, intents. What I'm trying to do with this client. So you can say guilds. I can read the servers out there. I can read the messages. I can see the message content, right? So that's what intents do. Again, it's again this documentation. And then what we can do is that we can do client.onReady. So we got the client now. So now we have this variable so that every interaction we do is from using this. So we are saying client.onReady console log logged in as my new bot. So here, this client is actually giving us, this callbacks and saying. So now if you see, the bot is actually offline, but if the tokens are correct and I do index.js and I get an error saying cannot find package discord.js, that's because maybe I imported the wrong one. Yeah, so it's just Discord and not Discord.js. Now if I try, I get another import saying that named export client not found. So I had to check. Okay, so we are importing this from Discord.js. So that's our package name. This is Discord.js. We'll try installing it once again. Yeah, so basically when that runs, what we get is that we'll be getting, the bot will go online and we will see it jump to here from bottom. So now if I test Discord.js builder, Discord.js, Discord, I go to the wrong one. So now if I type in Node.js index, not. Okay, so I just so the package I imported was wrong earlier, so I corrected it now. And other thing is that I have this client set out here, initialized, and I have client on ready, but we are not saying it to login, so that's what we will do next. So to do that, we have to scroll a bit and find the code for that. So at the end, what we have to do is that we have to log in, make the bot log into the server, Discord server. So what we are doing is here that we are saying client.login, and we are passing in the bot token that we created here. That it knows like to which server are we talking about, which where we are talking about. Does the bot has permission? Those things happen here. And on ready, when it happens, we will get a console log. So now it says logged in as my new bot. So what happened is that this login runs, and when we got this callback saying it's ready and done, we got this message saying logged in as my new bot. So now if we come here, we can see that it's online, the bot is online and it's ready to listen to the commands that we will provide. But we have not written the commands, but it's live. So if I turn it off, it will eventually go to offline. So that's how it works. So to make it the bot run 24/7, you will need to host it on a platform which allows the deployment in a 24/7 thing. So yes, so now we'll proceed with building the commands and other things. So here we had to, before that we had to do some initialization of other things like rest for we can copy this line and we can put it here. So this again, like we talked, this is something that Discord.js use to handle the REST calls between Discord and our server. So we had to initialize that. So it's again calling new REST and passing in the version and setting a token which we have declared here. So done with that, then we can proceed with commands. So here, if you see what's happening is here is that we are creating an array. So the array will hold the commands because we can have many commands. We can have commands for getting issues. We can have commands for writing issues. Many things can be done. So that's what we are doing here. So if we paste it and then we will look into what's happening there. So after this is done, if I paste it here, so it's simple array now, but inside that array we are using slash commander here. So here what's happening is that we have the slash command builder function that was exposed by Discord.js builders, and here you can again this is from documentation. It says you can set name for the command. So what is the command name? What is the description that you have providing to the command? And on the top level command you can provide subcommands. So I have said, okay, I need a subcommand saying create. So issue is the main thing, but I need to have a subcommand called create, and I have a subcommand called get. So the create part we are saying is that this is the create command that we will be dealing with. So here it says again same thing. What's the name? Create. Some description. Create a new issue. What are the options that we are dealing with? So I need to pass in. This is how we take in the parameters or the values from the client. So we are saying I need a project name which is required. So you can see the name is project and description is project name and it's required. Then the title is the issue title and it's again true and description. So if you remember, it's the same thing, right? So this server that we created, it needs three things: project name, issue title, and issue description, for it to call the GitHub SDK to create a new issue in a repository. So our Discord bot, through bot, our GitHub bot is our interface for our user. So basically the user is able to use the Discord bot and enter in project title and description, and we will use that to call the API to create new issue. So that's what happening here. I also have a subcommand called get, which will get all the issues again. So these are this commands list that we are putting here. What we have to do next is that we have, after declaring these commands, we have to write something called. So this function right here is called a self-invoking function. This is something from JavaScript. I don't know other languages has this thing. So this is something like a main in most language. So when our this node application is run, this will run first thing. Like without calling it, it will run. So usually for a function to run, we have to call it. Even with main, we have to some language we have to call it to invoke it. But here it will run on its own. No need of calling it. So what this is doing is it's saying it's using that REST that we declared earlier and passing in this doing a put request again, put get that we saw last time, same thing, because this is an API just packaged into a package. So rest.put, and it's passing in routes.application guild commands and using the environment that we declared, and in the body it's passing commands, right? So and so this is the way we are letting this code know these are my commands, and I want it to be shown here when I do slash. So if I come down and I put this in, So same thing. Again, this is self-invoking function that you have to learn if you're diving into JavaScript. So simply that's what happens. It's a REST code with put and it has its parameters, which is our Discord client and guild ID. So I'll just fix the environment name. So now I have Discord client ID and Discord guild ID. And in the body, we are passing these commands. So it's able to know that. Now we have, because we have both of them set, now we can do something. So here you saw client.on ready. So on when it's ready, we are getting a callback and we are able to do this loop. Same thing we can do when interaction happens. So interaction is, slash and choosing one of these things is an interaction. There is a way of putting a message, also interaction. So you can listen to this interaction happening here and you can act accordingly. So that's the power that, Discord is giving us. So here if I copy this code, or if I just copy until here, what we are getting is that, so same thing, client.on, I'm saying I need, when, what is the listener that you're listening to? I'm saying, okay, I want interaction create, let me know. Same thing you can do with message create, you will get a callback. So here, what we can do next is that, so again, you have to do some checks here to ensure that, so like you don't want your bot to reply to itself, right? The bot will enter something and you'll talk to the bot again. So you can avoid those things through some if checks. So here, if you see, it says interaction dot, if it's not a command, then return, don't do anything. And then you are extracting the command name and options from interact. Again, this is from documentation, you will get that things that you will receiving here. And once you get that, then you can deal. So because we know the command name is issue, so we can do work accordingly. Then you can have different statements saying that command name is pull request. Then you will do show all the pull request. So you can program it accordingly. And yes, so I copy these things. Okay, so now here, so actually this has to go inside, not outside. So below this we have to put that. So now here what's happening is, first of all, interaction is happening. We are getting a callback here. We know that. So if it's not a command, we are returning it. We are not doing anything. If it's so then we are extracting the command name and option, and we check the command name. Is it issue? If it's issue, then we have to deal with it. Then we are like, okay, subcommand. Then we store subcommand here. Then subcommand is that we saw earlier. So here we saw issue is the main command and subcommand is create or get for our case. It can be anything. So we're saying if it's create, what should we do? So if you see this code, what's happening here is that it's using octokit here, right? So you can do it like that also. You can have the bot talk directly to the Discord, talk directly to the GitHub SDK, or what we can do is that we don't need this. We will remove this part. What we can do is that talk to our API server in port 3000. So again, the benefit of it is that you can, work out more things. You can maybe, so this Discord bot code will be very lean. It won't have that, import of octokit or anything. It will just talking to our server, and in our server we can do many things. Maybe in our server we can say, okay, I want to use a database, and every time this code happens, I will log that data to my database. So you can do such things when you have your own server, and it's better to deal like that than, again, it's a choice that you make when you're designing your backend. So I'm doing this so that I can show API and both the things. So here we are saying, okay, subcommand is create, and we get these things extracted from this. So when I put that project name, issue name, and description, I can extract it here, and I can, maybe I will console log it here. So I can say project name, then issue title and issue description. So now I have this. I can also, so how you reply to your own system is that you can, so you can make the bot reply to the user. So what I can do here is I can say await dot reply, and I can say done. So now if I push this, I will start the server. So you can say the console is saying successfully reloaded application / commands. So that comes from this thing. So when the server starts, not application starts, it's sending a REST command to the bot and the Discord server. So here I can come here and I can say issue create. I can see issue get also. I do issue create. I can say test, and title I can say issue test, and the description I can say hello world. Now if I enter, I get this response done, and that comes from here. I can reply anything. If I can reply hello world also. I will start again. Here I can do the command again. Same thing, it says hello world. So that's my bot interacting to me. And if you see the console log, you can see this these parameters also which we passed in. So here, if you see, it's the issue command, sub command is create, and these are the 3 parameters that we need, options that we need, and it's required. Like you can't proceed without passing them in. So that's the interface that we have for this thing. Now we need to talk to our server, this 3000 server that we created. Now to do that, so like we can install, you have to install something to do that talking to the server. You can install, there are many packages like Axios, you get a node fetch is there. So let's use node fetch for now. So I have to install it again in this project. If I do node, I paste it. So here you can, when you have with the options, you have Axios and other requests, HTTP, you can use HTTP, which is by default there in Node. You can use that also. It's again the choice of comfort and the package size that you are ready to deal with. So if I come here and I have to first import it. So import fetch from node fetch. I install the package. Now how to use it? I don't know how to use it, right? So I come here, I scroll through this npm and I see, do this first. I did that. I had to do this. I did that also. Next, what I can do is that what I'm trying to do is a post request. So if I scroll here, this is how you get the data, and this is how you pass in a JSON and post with JSON. So we need this. We need to post something from our Discord bot server to the API server. So what we do is that we done all this part. We need to create a body. So let's create a body. So here where we return, we have to talk to API. We say body equal to project name, then issue title and description. So we now have a body here. Then what I can do is that it says that, let's copy this. So I come here and it says fetch. So I'm using fetch, and it says it needs a URL and it needs a request info like method. Which method are we dealing with, like we learned earlier. So here I can say the API is live on localhost 3000 and the route is again API v1/issues. This is the URL that we want to talk to, and method is post. How we know post? Because we built this. So we have it written here saying post. Then here we have body. So again, so this it has to be JSON, right? So when we are doing here also, we are selected body and we are passing JSON. So now we have to do it programmatically. So we have to wrap it inside JSON.stringify body and have to pass in the headers. So again, headers are something that even with the client, when you're building a front-end application, you have to pass in these things when you're even if you are building with Flutter and if you are calling an API, you will be using this something called DO. So there also you will get the same thing. You have to pass in the headers. So that's so basically the backend server and the front end application should get into some agreement and figure out things. So that's why we have this status code, we have these headers out there that we can use to get into that agreement part. So so that's what. So here we did that. We will try to see if it works. So when we do call this command with the slash does this will be done, and will this function this route will be called with a post method. We will see that. Then let's also console this response. So console.log. So response, then I need response. So now if I try to start the application again, and we will see if things will work out as we expect. So here, if I come back and I say create, and the project name is no scrape, and title is from both, and issue created from both via server, I get hello world, which means it had worked. So let's see. So in the response, I'm getting some gibberish which I don't know what it is, so we don't care about that. But if we look into our server, what happened is that in our server the call happened, we received the call, we received the JSON. So the call came here. Okay, we extracted these three things, we then printed those things, and so here we are console.log logging the rec.body, and this was in the rec.body. So from bot that we typed there, it came to our server from the bot application, bot server, and it's responding with a URL. Okay, so if I go to my GitHub and I say no scrape, which is the project that we are talking about. So I come here and I do enter and I go to issues, I will see the same thing from both. This was created 1 minute ago. This is what we just created. So how it went, we wrote a command in a Discord, which is our client in our case. And when you did that, the application, the bot called this post request to our API server, and the API server used GitHub SDK to create a issue in the GitHub. So this is what happened. So but we will just finish in a minute when we respond that URL here. So now we are putting hello world. So how we can use, so this is something random happening here, but how we can use this response to display or return as a reply, right? So if we do this, we get rest.json and all those things. So let's see again the npm package that here what it says. So it says await response.json. So you got response, then you have to do an await to get that. So I just do what they say. So here what happens is, and I just did that. So I have the response here, then I have to await response.json, and I have data here. So here if I reply with data, let's see what happens. And I will stop it, start it again, and it's live. So now if I do same thing, I didn't get anything, and the reason is that we had to console log the data and see what's happening there. If I print data and say data, and let's see what happens when we are doing that. So we can already see the error here. It says cannot send an empty message. So if we call that again, okay, so if we scroll up, we can see it is a JSON. remember we have done that here. So here also we were returning that JSON. So here we are saying data URL. So how the front-end engineer know about this is because we have an API, we have documentation, and for documentation we can use something like Swagger, which or automatically builds the documentation for the API, and it's also standard. Open API is a standard which we follow as we build APIs. And so the front-end engineer is able to understand, okay, so this is what's happening. At the end of the day, data will be there, inside data URL will be there. So then what they will do is that they will come here and say data dot URL, and if I do data dot URL, I should be getting that. So now if I try it again by starting my server again, and the bot is live. Now if I do it again, and we got another error, and it says that NewScript issue title from load issue data throw an unhandled error event cannot read property undefined of redeemable. So we have to maybe extract it first. So let's do another console here. So sometimes with some APIs, what happens is there is no, you won't find the documentation proper. So you have to figure out by console logging, and you have to figure out what happens next. So let's try again with just console logging in. So for now we will do console hello world.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Is that URL or HTML underscore URL?
It's URL.
Okay.
It was HTML URL from GitHub, but we converted it to URL.
Okay.
Yeah, the server is responding with a URL.
Okay.
So now if we see, we're getting data.url undefined, and that's because we missed one step, which is we had to this we did. So because data should have that. So we have to data URL. Okay, so it's already inside an object. Let's try it one more time. And this time we get hello world, and we are also able to print the proper URL. So if you don't have a good document, this is what happens. You have to experiment. You have to deal with console logging and figuring out things. So yeah, that's part of the learning. So now if we try, I hope it works. So now here what we say NewScript and server both, and just changing the name so that we can understand the correct one. And here you got the this thing issue created, and it's responding. So the bot, so I came here, I input the command, the bot listened to the command via this on interaction create, and it called the API I just built, the API that we just built, localhost 3000 API /v1 issues, and it did a post request with the parameters that I put in this here. And the server went ahead and used GitHub SDK and created an issue here. If I go to my, if I come here and I say the project name, which is NewScript, the same thing will happen. It would have created an issue here. So you can see server board, that was the name we provided, and it was created a few minutes ago. So it worked, and when it worked, our server responded with status 201 and JSON, which is a data, and inside data we had URL, which is the URL that OctoKit provider. So basically OctoKit is providing too much data, but we are saying no, the front-end engineer doesn't care about all those things. So we will simplify things, we will just provide a URL. So the front-end engineer can just use that dot URL. So here we try data URL. It is because we are encapsulating it again in another JSON object. We don't need that. So yeah, it's just, so again, how JSON will be done again is the choices that the backend engineers make. Sometimes they put message, nested. It will be sometimes mostly nested, but it's better to avoid too much nesting. So, and it came here and it said, okay, everything is done, response is good. Let's extract the response. So we are doing that .json and we are saving it in data. And then we are saying interaction.reply. This is how we reply back to the user in the bot, in the Discord server. And we said, okay, reply with the URL, and URL is replied here and everything is working. So now the person can just click and they can see the issue here. So yeah, that's it.